Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect.
Welcome people, Lumanny here back again with another episode of the Aston Villa save here on our channel. We are wasting absolutely no time getting into games in this one because we have 8 to cover in this episode. Not all played games, I will mention that now. Some of them will be simmed, but I couldn't stand playing 8 games in one sitting. But I wanted to get this episode out ASAP so that we could get to the January episode and do a little bit of live com and transfer signings, all that kind of stuff. So we are starting off the episode here against Chelsea away from home at Stamford Bridge. We're not in too bad a form at the moment. It's a bit up and down, but that's kind of what happens as you go through a season. Obviously Chelsea being a pretty good side, you just saw the lineup a minute ago. We knew it was going to be a testing game. We haven't particularly had good luck against the top 6. I think we've lost all of them, except for Spurs at the moment. We've lost to Liverpool, United. Yeah, I think that's the only ones we've played. I don't think we played City. We played City in this episode. Chelsea do take an early lead here. I'm not really sure why the man who was with Nicholas Jackson decided to try and go with his foot for a clearance there, but he did decide to try and do that, and it pretty much left Nicholas Jackson completely free at the near post to get a header. I could not tackle Sancho for love nor money. I tried over and over again, and he just kept, I don't know, his dribbling just seemed so good that he just got through my tackles all the time. You see there again, we go for a tackle, it doesn't work out. Not a great bit of defending here from me. The ball rattles around, and then that really sent me over the edge early on in this episode. And you can see I'm going to immediately sub off Ezri Konsa here, because my 2 centre-backs ran into each other, kind of then like deflected off of each other, and somehow that then sent the ball to Nkunku, who could just roll it in, basically, because both my centre-backs then ran basically on top of Emi Martinez. Great save from Martinez there. Konsa puts the tackle and it doesn't get cleared. Pau Torres and then Konsa walk into each other, block the view of Emi Martinez, and we go 2-0 down because of it. So things aren't going particularly well for us in this game so far. I was really struggling to make opportunities. We get played around again here. Jadon Sancho goes through and tucks away a third. And at this point I decide we've got too many games to play after this one. I don't want to get super tilted. I was going to do it through live sim just because I've already played majority of the game, but I just decided we'll just jump to sim. As with jumping to sim, you see that it ends up being an absolutely obscene result. 5-0, we don't even have a shot and have like 30% possession or something like that, so it's a bit crazy. You saw I flashed up the calendar there just to show you how busy December is. I think in this first stretch we're playing a game every 2 or 3 days, so there's a lot of rotation needed within the team. So a lot of players are going to be getting a lot more play time at the moment. No time whatsoever, and we are back at home in this one against a team from London in Brentford. Yeah, it was unfortunate what happened in the Chelsea game, but top 6 sides at the moment are always going to be a problem for us. I think we will be able to contend with them when we reinforce a little bit. Maybe next season we'll be able to contend with them a little bit better, but at the moment they just seem to be that slight level above us. Brentford, this was a strange game. It's something that I've found happens quite a lot in this year's iteration of FIFA or FC, whatever you want to call it. This was a very hard team to break down. I was really struggling to get through them. We have an early header there that you saw a minute ago with Ollie Watkins, but it does get saved. Watkins then gets around the side here into a bit of space and fires it across the keeper, but it's another good save from Flecken. I was struggling to get through them. We were starting to find a couple of spaces down the wing, but it wasn't really coming to much most of the time. Digne does well here, rolls inside, goes for a shot, actually deflects to Ollie Watkins, and Ollie Watkins managed to spin on it really nicely and tuck it away to give us a 1-0 lead. Took us a long time though, almost the 70th minute, but we finally do get ourselves a goal. But yeah, I was just really struggling to get through Brentford. I couldn't. They kept just recovering, and I couldn't find a way to play around them. Here you can see we chipped the ball through to Matty Cash. He holds it up, finds Adu, who we subbed on, goes for a pass back to Philogene. Philogene hits it very well actually, but it's a great save again by the keeper. Late on, we almost give the ball, well, we do give the ball away, should I say. Jonathan David is breaking, but it's a great recovery from Pau Torres there to put the tackle in, and that tackle would save us and give us all 3 points going into the end of this game. Like I'm saying, I know I'm all over the place because this episode moves very quickly, and I've got thoughts that I want to share with you guys. Maybe better if I save it to the end, but we'll just... You'll hear spats every now and then. It's been tough to get through, which I kind of like because I think it reflects more accurately on what real football is. You have to have those players that can find those killer passes. You have to have good build-up, etc. I think we have the bare bones of that, but I don't think we're necessarily finding it perfectly right now. You can see we dominated the game. We had shots, but not a lot of them were on target. Following the first 2 games of the episode, we are in 6th place at the moment, just a point behind Brighton, 3 points down on United. So we're within the range of where we're meant to be. You can see 2 days again, 3rd game in, 9 days I think it is, or something like that, 9 or 8 days, something like that. We do have Southampton coming for a visit. Ridiculously busy Christmas. I have played FIFA for a long time. I don't think that I've had a holiday period this busy before. Maybe I have and I've just forgotten about it, but this seems like exceptionally busy with the Champions League fixtures in there. A lot of Premier League fixtures in here. It's crazy. Like, it is actually crazy. You can see pretty much every game we're rotating at least 2 or 3 players. So it's definitely a trying time. Obviously next season it'll probably be a little bit easier for us if it is similar, because we would have brought in more players and we would have more. I wasn't looking forward to this game against Southampton at all because they were playing a back 5 and I struggled to break down Brentford, so I was thinking to myself, how the hell are we going to break down Southampton with a back 5? This I could not even understand. Literally first 1 minute 40 we break through perfectly with Ollie Watkins, but he completely scuffs the header. Then we break through with Ollie Watkins again in the 12th minute, and he hits the post. You can see the first half, just nothing is happening. Southampton were holding a lot of possession. We were struggling to get through, but in the second half, a nice little pass and move from us. We knock it around, move Southampton centre-backs out of the way, and it's a nice little through ball slid through to Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey then finishes it to give us a 1-0 lead. But as I was saying, it was pretty much what I imagined. This game was like impossible for us to break down Southampton easily. We were having to hold on to the ball a lot. We couldn't really break away, which is a lot of how I've been playing football in this game. And as you can see, once again, it is a scrappy 1-0 win. Well, less scrappy in this one, but it is a hold-out 1-0 win, I would say. It's not very exciting. The game wasn't particularly exciting to play. There wasn't a lot of goalmouth action going on. It was a lot of working the ball around midfield, working the ball backwards, trying to move him around. It wasn't the most exciting game. That's why there wasn't a lot of highlights to show you. I believe we ended up having a decent amount of shots, but if I'll be honest with you, a lot of them were kind of outside the box, just taking a pop to see if I could maybe get a deflection that would fall to one of my players, because I feel like that's kind of the world that I'm in at the moment. Following that and following the Brentford game, I decide maybe if we try a different shape, we could potentially have different results. So what I am deciding to do here is to switch to a 4-3-3 with very attacking fullbacks and the wingers to sit inside so that they're closer to Ollie Watkins. Kamara will then drop in to make a 3-back, and then we'll have Ramsey kind of roaming around to find the ball and play it off, and we'll have McGinn doing a box-to-box, more defensive work. In an ideal world, that's how it would work. I don't know for certain if that's how it will work. I don't actually end up using it in this game, I don't think, against Leipzig, because I was almost certain that Leipzig were going to come with a very heavy pressing team, and we didn't have players trained to their specific positions just yet. So I was kind of apprehensive to go straight in and use it straight away. So I think it's next game maybe that we use it, while we stick with the 4-2-3-1 in this one. Obviously, I know Leipzig from last year's FIFA. They played They played very high-pressing football. It was quite attacking. They would punish you anytime you gave the ball away, pretty much. So I was pretty much expecting exactly that. The team is one of the strongest that we had, maybe bar Luca Digne, because he won't have that attacking threat. But we kind of made that work in the past anyway. So I have to say, I was weirdly confident going into this game that we would be able to get a result out of Leipzig. Early on, it didn't fill me with confidence, because they, in the 5th minute, carved through us. Luckily, it's an offside from the deflection, because I think they were going to have another chance. Literally 6 minutes afterwards, Sesko gets rolled through, but Martinez showing up huge in the Champions League, as he has been doing in real life as well for Aston Villa. A cross then from the corner. Pau Torres actually deflects the ball onto the post to save another goal. Yeah, you can see early on Leipzig were having all of the attacking threat. We were really struggling, but then we do manage to bomb and catch them on the counter here. Morgan Rogers gets away from Ram, who makes a stupid tackle, and he actually manages just to sprint straight through, because the centre-back decided to go and cover Ollie Watkins, which is a bit of a strange decision, because there was other players there that probably could have come across to Watkins. But yeah, so Morgan Rogers, I think it's definitely his first goal in the Champions League. I think it's his second goal of the season, second or third goal of the season. We have the stats at the end of this episode, so we can check that out then. I think it's his second or third goal, but that's kind of what I've been waiting for Morgan to show me, that he can do that kind of breakaway play, and I can rely on him to try and tuck those ones away. We haven't seen a lot of it. Unfortunately, in the second half, very early on, it's not another great defensive performance from me. I panicked a little bit and I moved someone out of the way. I think it's Conte. I moved Conte across, and then no one could recover to get back to Openda. Martinez unfortunately can't save us this time, and he would net an equaliser for Leipzig. But I still had a weird confidence. Onana picks up the ball here, finds Rogers. Rogers rolls in John Duran, and John Duran hasn't scored a lot of goals for us so far this season, but tucks away a very nice one there, showing good strength to get away from his man and hold him off. Then bangs one into, I think it was the side netting or the bottom corner. Very nice finish. I wanted to try and give him some more game time, because I think where Ollie Watkins has been so reliable, I've been apprehensive to sub him off, and maybe John Duran needs a bit more game time to get involved a bit more. I was really enjoying Jaden Philogene in these games that I played in December. Ezri Konsa would show up massively in this game. I've been waiting for some sort of performance. I know in real life Ezri Konsa is a very solid defender. Haven't felt that security with him so far in FC, but scoring a goal, giving us a little bit of daylight between us and Leipzig, that's a big performance. That is something I am definitely very happy for Ezri Konsa to pop up with, if that's all he can do for us. A couple goals here or there from corners, that'd be very nice. It's a good header, because he's got a lot of competition around him for that ball as well. 3-1 lead. Unexpected 3-1 lead, I will say as well. I definitely didn't expect, once we got to 1-1, that they would kind of capitulate the way they did. They try and play through us here, but it's a bad pass, I think, in the end from Baumgartner, and we do manage to clear it, and we do hang on for a big 3-1 win in the Champions League. We're performing pretty well in the Champions League. We had that one blunder, I would say, against Bologna, but I think besides from that, we've actually performed pretty well in most of our games. Even the Bruges game where we drew, it was still a pretty solid all-round performance. We just didn't finish off opportunities and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with our form in the Champions League at the moment. Obviously, a 3-1 win in a busy month like this is going to do bits for your confidence, and it was doing bits for my confidence as well, because we have been struggling to score a lot of goals recently, so that was huge for me. You can see there we are 4th currently in the Champions League, which is very nice for us because we are competing with the big boys at the moment. We are 5th in the league, just below, I think it was United or Spurs that are just above us. The board said they were concerned about brand exposure. I think that's something we will just complete when we actually do start signing players, so it's not something I'm particularly concerned about. We are already, though, at our next game. Like I say, there's not a lot of rest time in between games in this month of December, which means, unfortunately, you have to hear my voice on pretty much a continual loop, which I hope I'm not rambling too much and not talking too fast and things aren't sounding too sloppy so far. But on the back of the 3-1 win, I think this was the 3 or 4 day break, so we had a little bit more stamina on the players going into this one. But this is the game, I believe, where we decide to employ the new tactics and try out the 4-3-3 for the first time. We'll check just in a second. Yes, you can see there it is confirmed. We do switch to the 4-3-3 in this one. I wasn't sure how this was going to work out. It's a very attacking formation. When we are attacking, it's going to take the wing-backs a little while to recover. It may be that I switch them to just wing-back, not attacking wing-back in the future. But in the 5th minute here, we press well. Ollie Watkins does get the ball back off of a couple of deflections from the Nottingham Forest defenders, and as Ollie Watkins tends to do, doesn't always do, but tends to do when you're giving him an opportunity like that, he does finish it off. I think it's actually Sangare tried to play a back pass to Murillo, I think it is, and Watkins just gets there first. When he's in that position, I would back him 9 times out of 10 to finish it off. And he does so for us in this one for a very early first half lead. So obviously you can tell that my head would have gone absolutely crazy with that. However, a couple minutes later, we find ourselves in the back of a couple very big attacks. Conter eventually clears it, but that one was very scary. Gibbs-White then finds the ball here to Hudson-Odoi. And 22 minutes into the game, Nottingham Forest find themselves back in, and it was off of a turnover by us. They swept forward and the fullbacks were just recovering. You can see that Matty Cash is just there as it gets rolled through by Gibbs-White. Unfortunately, we can't get across to do anything about it, so he does manage to tuck one away. But you can start to see here a little bit of the vision. You see a lot of bodies flying forward, a lot of people flying into the box. It's a good save from Matt Sowers. Not great contact from Ramsey in the end, so can't be too upset about that one. Just before half-time, we do get a corner onto Ollie Watkins' head. I don't know how Sangare didn't out-jump him there, because he probably should be. But Ollie Watkins does double up in this game to give us a 2-1 lead, a 1-goal advantage back in our favour. It's a good corner from John McGinn, plants it right in the middle. Ollie Watkins is in front of Sangare, but Sangare really needs to be doing better in the defensive position there to try and get Ollie Watkins out of that middle position. We then ceded quite a lot of possession to Forest. They were managing to pop some shots off from long range, nothing too threatening. We come forward here, you can see they've started to sit back very deep, which I found quite strange considering that they are 2-1 down. We find a good ball here to Yuri Tielemans. He goes to strike one, but it actually comes off Milinkovic's head and ends up being cleared. But that was pretty much it. I will say I don't have a full assessment of the tactics following this game. It felt a bit better in an attacking sense. I felt like we were flying forward a bit more. What I did see a lot of is that our midfield was getting completely overrun at points, so that may be something to engineer. But you guys let me know what you think, if the tactic looks like it could be a decent one or not, if what you would change about it, if you have any opinions on that. You can see we had most of the possession, most of the shots in our favour, so we dominated the game still. That does move us up to equal on points with Spurs and United above us on 30. Our goal difference at the minute is pretty horrendous though. We now have a nice big break for the boys before we play City. We also have some roles updated here as I was training the boys in their new positions so that they can perform a little bit better. I was a bit confused here because I couldn't change the actual role that I wanted to get rid of. So I ended up just selecting whatever one it was already on. But yeah, Kamara now does learn centre half. Was it plus or just plus? I can't remember. One or the other. And then we have a couple of the other boys. Leon Bailey learns to be a right winger. Then we train him on inside forward. Hopefully he can get some plus on there. Same for Morgan Rogers. Jaden Philogene is learning his currently, but not as quickly as the other boys, maybe because he's not playing as much football. Now this game, I was almost certain that we did not stand a chance against City. I did employ the new tactics in this one just to see how it would hold up against the champions of England currently. What I did do, and I think in hindsight it was probably a mistake, I put the wing backs on full backs so that we would be a little bit more defensive. I think in hindsight that probably was an error, and I should have just gone with what I felt confident with and had them on wing back maybe. But it was a very tough game against City. Phil Foden, I don't know how you defend against Phil Foden in this game, if I'm honest. He was just bouncing off of all of my players whenever I put a tackle in on him. Ake finds a pass here to Haaland, but it is intercepted. But for some reason, even though I told Pau Torres to clear the ball, he ran it straight in to Haaland. So Haaland just nicks it off of him and then puts it in the back of the net, which was quite an annoying one because it was pretty much a giveaway, and you don't really need to be giving City chances like that because they're likely just to get them anyway. Again there, another defensive error. Konsa nicks the ball away from Haaland initially, but he nicks it and chips it up into Haaland's knee. The touch from Haaland then manages to take him past Konsa to make it 2-0. At 2-0, I accepted my fate that the game was over. We weren't going to come back in this one. However, the reason I stayed in this game and didn't just jump to Sim and get into the next one, because I thought this would be a good way to kind of tamper with our tactics a little bit. I was doing that off camera. I wasn't going to bother showing you guys every single time I paused the game. We did get a little bit more of a foot in the game after I switched the fullbacks to wing back. I switched, I think, the midfielders to press a little bit more or something like that. But you can see here we do get a quick counter-attack here with John Duran. He plays Leon Bailey in, and Leon Bailey does hit one very nicely and finish it off. So we do get a goal against City, which is a consolation and nothing more. But yeah, it was a game I was expecting to lose. Realistically, I would have preferred not to concede 3, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You can see there we do drop down to 6th following that game. A little bit annoying, but like I say, it kind of is just one of those things. This is the point where I decide we're going to start simming games. We've only got 2 left in the month against Newcastle and Brighton. We do manage to get a 2-1 win against Newcastle. Watkins scoring, Ishak then scoring, and then Watkins winning it. I don't think it was late on, but like later on. We get Ezri Konsa on ball playing ++ there, which is nice because he can play that alongside Pau Torres now. December the 30th, the last game of December, we would get a 1-0 win over Brighton. You can see pretty dominant. I played the 4-2-3-1 in the first sim. I think I played the 4-3-3 in the second sim. So testing out both. Overall, it's a pretty decent month. Only 2 losses, 6 wins. So you would take that majority of the time. You can see again we've moved back up equal on points with Arsenal with 4th, 1 point behind United, so we're definitely in that fight for a Champions League spot, which is where we want to be. So I'm hoping that after January we can kick on a little bit and maybe shore up our spot, because we're kind of in the spot of hunting at the moment. I prefer to be in the spot of security and holding off. We do get a couple decent looking youth prospects here, but I don't think I actually end up bringing anyone up to the actual youth squad. We're going to leave them a little bit because I think I'm bringing them up a little prematurely. So maybe I'm decided that I'm going to leave them for a little bit to see how their potential plays out. Because besides from Adu and I think it's Musa that we currently have, we don't really have anyone else that special. Ollie Watkins is absolutely smashing things right now. 20 goals, 4 assists in 29 games in all competitions is pretty huge for us. The problem I'm finding is that we don't, after Ollie Watkins, we don't really have a lot of goals. I think our next highest is literally Leon Bailey with 7. So we need to bring in a couple more goal scorers, I would say. But we're doing alright. I'd say it's going okay. Obviously, we're in January now, so I've got your guys' suggestions. If you've got any more, drop them down below. That's going to be the end of this one. So I will see you for the live January episode next. Peace.